Mrs. Milner. I live in Greenfield. Good morning, Virginia.
And good morning. I'm Al Moffett.
And I'm Cindy Grickett, and this is Good Morning, Virginia.
We have a packed show today, and one that you will not be able to leave the set for the next hour, so stand by. One of the guests we'll be talking to is a young lady who is a housewife in Highland Springs, and she says that she has for years hidden the fact that she is psychic, and today she's going to be talking about that.
Oh, that's interesting. I have to be careful not to think anything that she might not want to know. Okay, and this morning also we're going to learn about how you can be your own marriage counselor, and from time to time you might need that skill. And also Dr. Zanga is going to discuss breastfeeding. He says breast is best for a newborn baby. And Nancy Collins will talk about two of Eddie Fisher's ex-wives. And also we have a special and wonderful surprise for you on this program, one that will make your tummy feel good, if you can understand that. But first, it's Thursday. That means that we're going to start the program with some cooking. And Lisa Phillips is with Al, and she's got something set out there that all of us have got our eye on for later. Lisa?
Oh, you won't believe this one, and it's got 10,000 calories a bite, right, Lisa?
Oh, but it's so easy and wonderful to make.
Okay.
But you have to say...
Special young lady. She is a housewife from Highland Springs. Her name is Brenda Bradshaw. Brenda, glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
And as you can see, Brenda is a very normal person. She looks like she would belong to the Highland Springs Junior Women's Club and, you know, and that type of thing. And yet, Brenda has hidden in her own mind something that has bothered her for years. You want to tell me about that?
Well, first of all, I am what you might want to call a hand translator, which is kind of a taboo because palmistry is something that's not practiced. And I have certain feelings about palmistry that I have picked up on my own. For 13 years, I have just been studying on my own and reading books and taking like one person and seeing something on one person's hand and then translating it to someone else's hand, and it meant the same thing. And, of course, I see, you know, the roadside palm readers, and, of course, I always felt that, you know, it was something bad to get into because palmistry is something that would be against, you know, the whole setup of things. It would kind of be a tumbling block. So I have just kind of gone out on my own and do lectures and talk to different people.
When did she is, in effect, and she told me this on the telephone, and I think this is just a great line. She said, I am a psychic, and I finally decided to come out of the closet. And so she, for years, has been hiding this fact. When did you first realize you had psychic powers?
Well, after I got into the reading part of hand translation or handwriting analysis, after I would get with people for a length of time, I would start having these things that I hadn't read in any books. And I said, where's this coming from? And, of course, my husband, he would say the same thing. He said, you never read that in any book.
And your husband is an engineer.
Yes, he's an electrical engineer. He graduated from BPI, and he's always kept me on the straight and narrow. He's always said, well, if it's not in any book and it's not proven, he said, what is it? And I would be sitting with someone, and he would be there in the same room with me while I was doing a reading, and he would say, where did you get that from? And of course he would say, you know, you didn't learn that from a book, so therefore you cannot go public with it. You have to keep the whole thing quiet. And so I've kind of just stayed in the closet, closed the door, and say, you don't feel that anymore. You don't feel that.
Okay, well let's. But now you have decided to come out and admit to everyone. You've never met me before. We've talked on the telephone, but today. My hand is, well, I have a small hand, first of all. I'm one of those people who have very small hand, very small feet. But there's really nothing unusual about my hand. I can't tell anything about it except that that maybe I ought to, you know, pay more attention to manicure or do something. What can you tell me about myself from my hand?
Okay, first of all, Al, everyone thinks that everyone has the same lines on the hand.
Right.
And as I have noticed, people have different lines on their hands. And also, the hands do not have to match the body. Sometimes people will say, I have big hands that match a big body and so forth. The hands are shaped by the movement. Whatever you do in your life, the movement will change the hands. Sometimes if you find a mechanic, their hands will be bent in a certain position because they're holding a tool. These are just natural things. So your hand should be very wide open because you're a very wide open conversationalist. Of course, I have to be objective. I do know a lot about you. But as you can see, his hand is very wide, has a very wide span. And he also has what you call a conversation mound. This is the mound of Venus, as it's been called in palmistry, but I found out that the mound in this area, if it's overlarge, this person is a conversationalist. They're able to carry on conversations. The thumb being very short, and the fingers, and well, you have to measure the fingers in proportion to the palm, and they're exactly matched. If the fingers are too short, this person will be very quick and very impulsive. But if the fingers are matching, this person is equal. They're able to figure out things and hold on to ideas a little bit longer, more imaginative. The longer the fingers, the more imaginative you become. So your fingers are in proportion, so you are equal on both sides. You're imaginative and also, able to make quick decisions.
Well, I certainly appreciate that.
Right.
She has another talent of handwriting analysis, and we brought a guest in here. I'd like for you to meet Ricky Melner. Ricky, I'm glad to have you with us. Have you ever met Brenda before?
No, I certainly have not.
You two have not even discussed, conversed.
Mm.
We asked Ricky to come in and sit down and put her mic on so, to save a little time. Tell me what you're going to do with Ricky, and they've never met before.
Well, first of all, with Ricky, as every person that I do meet, I do like to be totally objective because I feel that people put ideas, and that puts you in the wrong direction. With her first, as her body language is showing, she is a very mature type woman because she has her legs crossed in a certain position, her hands held over, and she also does not close her thumb inside on both hands, but she does keep it close. A palm reader or hand translator, as I prefer, always read certain signs before they get into the actual reading. The color and the texture of the hand is very important. And another thing about her handwriting analysis, just on a large scope, she writes very neat. So I'm getting first impressions from her. Also, I'm getting psychic impressions from her.
Oh, you are?
Yes, because as you sit with a person for a long period of time, I don't know if there is such an energy that you do feel from a person, but you do feel that this person is sending off some type of positive or negative reaction to what you're saying. She's a very positive person. I can feel this from her. If I felt negative impulses from her, I would have trouble overcoming that negative because I would feel that she would be not responding to me. She would not be open, what you might say. So most of the time I will, come up to a person and I approach them. Would you like me to read her hand or her handwriting analysis?
Read her handwriting.
All right, her handwriting analysis. If you've ever had your handwriting analysis done in a computer, and I know several people have in fairs or things, the handwriting, each letter has a different meaning to me. They take each letter and they feed it into a machine, and they have a very general description of what each letter means. They would say that the A meant that you were going on a faraway trip, and they tried to be into the fortune telling of it. But I found that each letter had a certain personal meaning to me. What you would say that the A had a meaning where the person showed maternal instincts if the A was closed. If the A was open at the top, then the person would be career-minded type person.
Brenda, let me interrupt you here.
All right.
You said once that if someone writes the letter E, it has special meaning for you. What is that special meaning? Okay,
the capital letter E, I have been able to look at the capital letter E and tell what the person's house looks like. Everything that is in the house, the color schemes.
Can you do this with Ricky?
Yeah, I can do it with her.
All right. Now, we're going to put you to the test.
Okay.
Tell me what her living room looks like.
Okay, first of all, let me do a little bit of concentration here. I'm doing a little bit of scoping out of the rest of the letters. Okay, she has a leaning E that leans a tiny bit to the left. So as you go into the door, she's going to have a left side. She can answer what it's to the left. Everything's to the left. Okay. She doesn't have too much creativity in the house. The E, what I'm saying is the E is not looped. So this is a person who's very well satisfied with the way she has everything arranged at this present time. You will see women who have a lot of creativity going where they're changing styles and patterns and things like that, they'll have different markings in the middle of the E.
Don't look at the monitor.
Okay, I'll try not to look at the monitor.
Because we're showing
All right.
inside her house.
All right. Now, also, she has a loop to the back of the house, which is some type of odd type of parking arrangement that she has. It's she goes mostly into the back of the house. It's to the back to the side, actually. It goes like this, where you go in. Is that correct?
No. I usually go in the front door.
Okay.
But we have an odd parking arrangement. We have a lot of cars that are always being shuffling around.
Okay, this is what this is showing.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Another thing here, the color scheme is very, it's into the dark hue type colors. It's in the purple and the brown type coloring.
It's a very dark midnight blue with a little bit of brown.
A little bit of brown.
And white.
I'm going to have to interrupt.
All right.
Will you come back?
Oh, surely.
I'd love to have you back, Brenda Bradshaw.
Go in.
Okay, thank you. Cindy?
Okay.
Gosh, that's so interesting. I've been over here looking at my hand to see whether I'm creative or not, and I'm afraid to find out the answer. We will hear some more from Brenda Bradshaw in the future, and also from Ricky Milner. She's going to be doing some sewing tips for us beginning Monday, November 17th. And coming up, we have Willie, and we're going to talk some more to Helen Hatton, so stay with us.